So the trust came about by me figuring out that the only way that I was able to help my head was really use my hands, and I lost my firstborn son 7 years ago, and I really needed a way and out to figure out how to live with grief. And as I was doing that and I was documenting it online, a lot of people came around to my workshop. They were asking tips and ways that I could help them help their head and figure out how to deal with grief. And then it was just before lockdown. I got up one morning and I said, no, I have to help. I have to get a charity together to go, and there's too many people in my position that I really need to make an impact in. So in 2020, I just got up one morning and registered the charity Little Forget Me Nots Trust, and here we are today. And we're really making, this is like the year that we are seeing such an impact, that we're really connecting with a community of people that are dealing with grief, and they're finding alternative ways to live with grief, and yeah, it's just been amazing this year.
You were mentioning there about the using crafts and things like that there to try and help you through what you were dealing with, and how important was that for you in terms of almost taking your mind, I'll not say off it, but you know what I mean, trying like a distraction.
You're processing it. Well, that was such a pillar for me to realise that I needed something. I come from a community development background, which I kind of specialised in event management, and I was always the middleman. I was always taking communities to facilitators, and I never did the process. I never got involved with it. And then it wasn't until a man that I'm still work with, he said to me, Louise, go and find a craft and you will never need therapy, because he recognised that I was having such a hard time processing grief. I was a bereaved parent, I was still working, I didn't understand how to do life, how to be me, and he said, go and find a craft. And I tried a lot of things. I had an amazing supportive employer who was enabling me to go and do different projects and work with relevant people and other bereaved parents. And then I found embroidery, which is, for me, was my saviour. And as I was doing it, I was able to process things, and just after I just felt like I was able to get up the next morning, go to work, pay my bills, raise my kids, do life as normal as possible. But it was just having time for me, for my brain. And my husband's the exact same. He is such a handyman and he works with his hands every single day, and it's just we've both recognized when we're just feeling down, we need to do something with our hands to process our thoughts when they do get quite dark, which thankfully isn't as regular today.
But that's obviously something you wanted to pass on to other people.
Yeah.
Why was that? Why did you feel other people need to know about this and try and...
Well, I kind of thought to myself, do I know a secret that nobody else knows? Is this something that I should share this? So I started documenting it online. I had a page for my personal page. Then people randomly were coming over to my workshop, well, it was my shed at the time, and asking me, have you got embroidery, what fabric works with this? And it ended up, I was getting to a stage where people were really looking workshops, and I said to myself, does this have to be a business now? So it did eventually turn into a business. Then I was really connecting with the business, my people, my consumers. They were sharing so much in their workshop and my workshops that they partake in, and they were leaving, and I wasn't able to offer them anything else but my time in the workshop. And that sat with me, and I overthought that. I was like, I feel really bad, I can't support them. They've shared so much with me throughout this workshop, and I can't go and help them further. So that, over a few years, was really grinding on me. And then the icing on the cake was February 2020, just before lockdown, which I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing. I said, I'm going to help. I need to put support in place. There's too many people not availing from the right support within Northern Ireland, and I just wanted to be blanket support. I want people to access alternative ways to process their grief, by using their hands, and if somebody's into embroidery, if somebody's into painting, something that will help them figure out a way to process things.
Well, it's interesting, you know, obviously we're here, your office is based in funeral directors, but you work closely with a number of funeral directors, I believe, in terms of trying to get your information and what you do out to people.
Yeah, well, at the minute, yes, we're based, Little Forgive Me Not Trust is based within funeral directors. Ken Lee, this is my dad's, Macklin Murda, he donates this space to us, which is amazing for a charity. So we don't have, our overheads are going for staff and running costs of the charity, as in facilitators and things. So that side of things is amazing, but through this, funeral directors were unfortunately seeing bereaved parents more regularly over as the years go on. But that has also, because we're working with other families, not just who are part of this, we've had to deal with other funeral directors. They're signposting to us that have been in Portadown. There has been in Banbridge, funeral directors have been signposting to us. So it's just, at the minute, it's the community development approach that we need to start building up relationships within so many different sectors that are relative to bereavement or child loss, and that's where funeral directors come in. It's just one of our things that we will be still developing as we grow.
You've been obviously going from February 2020. How's the charity grown since then?
Well, it started me, a computer at home, then lockdown hit, and that meant that there was a complete cut-off with all support when it came to anybody that lost a child. Within the hospital, there was no community midwives, there was nothing, and that seemed such an impact instantly for us, because I just announced this was a charity that I've just founded, lockdown hit, and I had to go from one extreme to the other. So I tried my best to see other relevant projects that was happening in the area with other charities that I could then tap into, to then signpost the people that were coming into me, because we didn't have any income. We were only established. It was only an idea that I was hoping to build, but it was instantly how to get going, how to just run. And we were just all volunteers, hoping that we were going to help these people. Thankfully, I teamed up with another charity that had a pot of money that was able to be spent online, which that was the only way that we could. And we ran 2 pilot projects, were so successful. That gave me so much information that I was able to put into other funding applications to secure a job for Catherine, our new first employee, which we're super proud about. And we've recently just been awarded £10,000 from the National Lottery to help us grow, get our policies and procedures in place, and then support 5 families over 2023. So it's just grew, and it's just growing, and we're just really excited to see where we go next year.
Yeah. Well, I suppose finally then, obviously you've been through that yourself, you've set up the charity. What would your message be to somebody who's going through a bereavement, you know, the loss of a child? What would your message to them be?
Always talk about it. Never bottle up your feelings, and there is support out there. If you go to counselling and it hasn't worked, try a different approach and go to your GP. Start with your GP to see if there's any way that they can help you reconnect with your community, and that's where you will start to find your strength, if you start connecting with your community, because that's where you'll find the answers. And there is a lot of support online. There's a lot of other charities out there that, if you are not confident enough to leave the house, but never stop talking. That's my key message.